You're listening to Montreal Now on CJAD 800.
That is James Mennie. He is over at the Montreal Gazette. So, Jim, let's see. It must be Wednesday, so that's a good day to consider bringing the government down, I guess, right, Pierre?
Oh, no, we're talking about that. That is just more grandstanding. That is a guy who needed something fresh to throw out.
Okay, well, hang on. In case people missed it, here's a snippet of it.
Today I am announcing that I'm giving Trudeau one last chance to spike his hike. Today I'm announcing that if Trudeau does not declare today an end to his forthcoming tax increases on food, gas, and heat, that we will introduce a motion of non-confidence.
Which they know will lose, fail, etc. So what's the point here, Jim?
Let me hand one for free to Justin Trudeau, okay? Okay, just as an act of charity.
Okay.
Hey, Pierre, put a sock in the talk, okay? It's just becoming ridiculous now between the rhyming slang, between the absolutely vacuous kind of he was blaming Trudeau this week for car thefts in Toronto and Montreal, making it sound, I think, like he was pulling a Slim Jim out of his pants and helping these guys put a Porsche into a container at the port of Montreal. Yeah. No, you know what? If there's one word, I used to compare this guy to Trump. And to a certain extent, I still do. But the fact is, he's becoming so increasingly clownish. That is why he is one of the best allies for Justin Trudeau, because people are looking at the alternative. And you and I had this conversation before. When you wind up with the number one choice is Pierre Poilievre, and the close second for the number two choice is none of the above. This is not a ringing endorsement, and quite frankly, I'm wondering how long it's going to take for the rank and file of the so-called Conservative Party of Canada to summon up some spine and realize that it doesn't matter who will be, even if Trudeau hangs around, he's going to leave them off the side of a cliff with antics like this.
You know, I get the part of, and I think we're all kind of tired, unless, of course, you're a big supporter, and there are people, who do support, sure, think he's great. But the catchphrase is, in other words, not talking like a real sort of human being. I mean, that's something that bothers a lot of people. But I try to understand her politically, Jim, timing-wise. Why now? You know this is not going to pass. You know the NDP are not going to be on board with this. So why even do this?
Well, to you and I are talking about it. It's making the newscast. He's threatening to bring down the government. That sounds great. So the news organizations, which basically survive on clicks now, never mind information, never mind sitting down and saying this guy's completely full of hot air. It's not going to happen. This is nothing more than theater. It's just Poilievre's threatening to bring down the government. Well, that's fine. That's good. Get some clicks on that, and he knows that. That's the way he's playing the game. The thing is, federal elections up until now at least are not management of websites, and this kind of garbage is not going to cut it down the road. Presumably, we will go to the polls in 25. Anyone who listens to this show knows I am no fan of Justin Trudeau, but quite frankly, when this is the opposition he faces, you may want to get used to another 4 years of the guy.
Let me talk about what's happening provincially. We had another poll come out today. If you didn't think they could be any worse for the CAQ, you'd be wrong. They're down again. PQ are up. What do you think?
This is a major deal. I mean, this is not just a poll. It was so funny because yesterday I wanted to talk about this. We didn't have the time with all the news that was coming out. There was a book launch yesterday about the founding of the CAQ and how the CAQ became a the third choice for Quebecers politically. And what was funny is when the poll came out last night and bits and pieces were coming out, I thought for sure these guys were going to get on the line, call their publisher, and ask if they could rewrite the preface, because even now it looks like this third way, Aaron, is on its way towards the airlock. Listen, the poll today that was made, details made public today, has the CAQ at 22%. In the election, October 2022, they won with 41%. In the space of 17 months, their support has nearly halved, okay? As beleaguered as they are, it took the Quebec Liberal Party and the Parti Québécois 2 full electoral cycles to see their support drop by half. 8 years. And somehow the CAQ has managed to pull it off in 17 months. So the question is, what's the problem? The answer is very simple. François Legault. This is not something that just happened the by-election in last October in Jean-Talon, Quebec City. I think François Legault has been piling up a tab with a lot of Quebecers who voted for the guy because he wasn't a separatist and he wasn't this kind of jingo federalist or an arrogant Quebec Liberal. But the fact is now he's proven himself, as far as I'm concerned, to be an arrogant CAQiste surrounded by arrogant CAQistes. These guys like to thump their chests and complain about Ottawa and make big promises and deliver, molehills as opposed to mountains. And people have figured that out. And I think at our peril, we ignore now, never mind the parties or the personalities. I think we really have to keep our eye on the electorate. We really have to keep our eye on what is becoming, and I don't think it's just in Quebec, an increasingly transactional electorate that is saying, you give me what I want now, you get my support. You don't give me what I want tomorrow, you lose my support. I mean, much in the same way as I say, the CAQ has lost half their support. Over that same period, the PQ, just because it's the PQ and not the CAQ, has seen their support more than double. And all that going on, people go, oh my God, no, we're going to have another referendum. No, we're not, because at the same time, that Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon is outscoring everyone else as the best choice for leader of Quebec, as his party is just stomping everybody else, even though he only has 4 seats in the National Assembly. 35% say they support sovereignty, which is the raison d'être of the Parti Québécois, and 53% oppose it. Please don't tell me this is not about personalities, about getting the most for their vote or their support at that point in time. And trust me, the closer we get to the next general election, if Monsieur Saint-Pierre Plamondon sees that even if he's edging towards majority territory, he knows, and we've lived for 50 years of that phenomenon, Aaron, that there are a lot of PQ governments that campaign on sovereignty and suddenly realize, much in the same way as they realized the previous government left them no money, no, we don't have the winning conditions yet. We have to wait. We have to see. We have to do something else. We have to, increase, knowledge and do studies. It's been going on for years. It may well happen again. But the fact of the matter is, if the PQ is doing well and Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon are doing well, it's because they are not the CAQ and they are not François Legault.
I want to believe that, Jim, but I listened to Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon. We had him, in a sort of extended form a couple of weeks ago. I think now, and I heard yesterday, I played this clip back, right? He was asked about, before we had the announcement of the $900 million going from the feds to Quebec for healthcare, he was going to take his convoy, right, along with others down to Ottawa to meet with the bloc. That aside, the question was asked of him, how long are you going to keep doing this? And you want to hear the answer? The first part of it was this.
Until we will have our own country.
Does that sound like a guy who's going to back off wanting to have a referendum?
Oh, I've heard that line so many times from, take your pick, Bernie Landry, Lucien Bouchard. The names go on, Aaron. That's now. Wait until then. Wait until we get close to an election, and you'll see how it changes. And my hat's off to him. He's staying on script, my friend. He is not. He's playing his part. But when we get closer to opening night, we might see the script change.
Okay. Jim, I wanted to ask you this last thing because I was going to walk into this as our question. You saw today the story in La Presse about the Olympic Stadium. Actually, a great piece about studies that were done, studies that were ignored, and then our tourism minister, Carolyn Proulx, basically thumbed her nose at it and said, it's basically none of our business. What do you think?
I think it's, part and parcel. And to be fair, it's the latest example of CAQ arrogance. But for some reason, Quebec governments, liberal paykists, you name it, have got this fetish for the Olympic Stadium, that somehow it is the personification of Quebec's honor and progress, even though it is quite the opposite. But all that said, my hats off to La Presse for digging that up, and I would like some questions, not just asked, not to the tourism minister. This government has to answer for deliberately taking even more of our money and throwing it away on what is simply a vanity project for François Legault.
James MENNIE, thank you. Appreciate it. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Adam.